Hi everyone. In this video, I am going to demonstrate packet tracer activity 16.4.6, where we are going to work with configuration of secure passwords and providing SSH access. As you all are aware, device security plays a crucial role in providing overall network security. The most common network devices that we use every day are our switch and routers. So in this activity, we are going to try to see how you can secure those devices. If you don't secure these devices, they might present an opportunity to the attacker to perform an attack and breach the network defenses. Also, if you remember from my earlier module videos, we have been discussing that there are usually two ways of accessing these devices. One of it is physically through the console port, and the other one is through remote access. That is the reason we used to provide passwords for the line Vtb 0 to 15. Those are your virtual terminal lines. So using this remote access can be done. It can be usually done through either SSH or Telnet. Telnet is an unsecure protocol because it transmits these passwords in plain text, whereas SSH employs encryption. So it is always recommended to use SSH as your remote access to these devices. So let's start the activity and see how we can do those things. So this is how our PT activity looks like. Once again, it's a very small topology. We have one switch, a router, and a PC. There is also a console connection between the PC and the router. We are also given an addressing table where almost all the addresses are already given in this table. So let's just see what is required from us. The instructions are: first, configure basic security on the router, and there are some steps which we need to take, implement for the router, and then we need to configure basic security on the switch. So let us see what we need to do. So let me just increase the font a little bit, and also for me to easily copy the content, I'm going to unclick these two small tick marks over here, which allows me to move the topology easily. Okay, this is the topology. So let me see what it is written over here. It says configure IP addressing on the PCA according to the addressing table. So in the addressing table, it is given here clearly that RTA, there you go, this is the PCA. It should be as IP address is 172.16.1.10. So let me copy this, Control C. Let me go on to PCA, go to desktop, and then click on IP configuration. Just enter the IPv4 address here, and then just let me click once again this. Let me just click the top here so that don't move around. And the PCA subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. So let me paste it here and make sure that you enter the default gateway as well. It is 172.16.1.1. You can actually type them also if you like. So then let me close this. So the first step is done, and it's asking me console into RTA from the terminal on PCA. There is already a console connection that has been made for you. So click on PC, and then what you can do is you need to go to click on PC. Just let me move this here, and it is asking me to do a console connection. So it's already there. Let me click on terminal. So then click on OK. So this is how you can see. Now you should be able to look here. Press enter. Now you can see that you are already talking to the router. You can see the router's interface over here. Okay. So let me show you what else to be written over here. Router's interface is here. So just let me drag this so that it will be much more easier when you try to work with these things. Okay. So now it's asking me configure the host name. Fine. For me to do that, first I need to do the enable, and then configure terminal. And after that, what we need to do is you need to change the host name. So host name RTA, that's what it is written over. You make sure that you need to enter the right host name. After that, configure our IP addressing on RTA and enable the interface. There is only one interface which is written over there. So interface Z 0/0, enter. IP address 172.16.1.1 space 255. You have to specify the subnet mask also 255.0 when you're, and after that you have to enable the interface. For that, just type in no shutdown. How to do this? After that, let me see what we need to do. We are all done, and then you have to enter this. Let me come out of here. Good. service password encryption. Use the tab feature. It is much more easier. Service password encryption, so that any passwords that we set are encrypted. So after using that, it is actually asking me to set the minimum password length to 10. What this command does is it will actually make any passwords that you are setting not less than 10 characters. So it will ask the user, it will prompt the user to select any password, and the password should be more than 10 characters. So let me just paste that command over here. So security password minimum length is 10 characters. Enter. Now it is asking me set a strong secret password of your choice. Now I'll show you. Enable secret. If I put in Cisco, it won't allow me. It says password is too short, must be at least 10 characters. So enable secret. I'm just typing Cisco. It becomes much more easier for me to remember them. Cisco. Okay. So after that, it is asking me to make sure that if you misspelled anything, it doesn't go for domain DNS lookup. So you just type in IP domain lookup. That should do the job. So no IP domain lookup. That's what it is written over here. And after that, set the domain name to ccna.com. You need to set up the IP domain name. And we have discussed about the setting up of SSL. What are the steps that we need to do? The first thing is we need to set up the domain name. So IP domain name, whatever it is given here, ccna.com. I'm setting it up. And then I have to select how to create a user. So you can use this particular command over here. So username, you can give any name. I'm typing in Mukesh, my name, username Mukesh. Secret, once again, I'm just doing it as Cisco, just for sake of remembering purpose. It's easy. You can put, usually it is recommended to put strong passwords, which include a combination of uppercase, lowercase, and special characters. And after that, we need to generate crypto, I think, yeah, sorry, crypto key generate RSA. Enter. Now it is going to ask you the modulus length. It is always asked you, it is specifying that you need to enter in 1024. 1024, that should be the key length. So it generates the keys. And after that, it is saying that block anyone for 3 minutes who fails to log in after 4 attempts within a 2-minute period. So for that, this is the command. So what it actually tells you is login, block for 180. 180 is nothing but 3 minutes, which is represented in seconds. So when do you want to block it? If there are 4 attempts made within 120 seconds. So if somebody attempts to enter to login, or if somebody attempts to log in and they are unsuccessful for 4 attempts within 2 minutes, then you automatically block the login for 180 seconds. That is 3 minutes. So it's a kind of protection. So after that, now we go where we have to configure the Vtb lines and then allow SSH access. So line Vty 024, enter, transport input SSH login local. If you don't give this command, it won't allow you to enter. It will only allow people who specified the you have created the username and password only will be allowed to access through SSH. You need to give this command login local. And is also asking me set the execute mode timeout to 6 minutes. Okay, we can do that also. That means if you leave the system idle and if you go on out, then automatically the system should time out within 6 minutes. Execute timeout 6. And if you want to specify seconds, just give a space bar and put 0 or whatever 30. So the first number will be the minutes and the next number will be the seconds. And is asking me to save it. So let me just come out and get out of here and then copy. You know this command very well, running config to startup config. So copy running config to startup config. I have saved all these things. Now it is asking me to check whether I am successful or not. So for that, I need to go out of the terminal. So just let me close this terminal part here and then go into the command prompt. So in command prompt, let me check SSH and colon question mark. So it's saying SSH -L username target. This is how you should be able to access it. So in that case, what you need to do is Let me paste it here. SSH -L. What is the username that I type? My name, Mukesh, MUKESH. And what is the target that you want to access? You want to access the router. The target will be your IP address. Space 172.16.1.1. Enter. See, now it is asking me for the password. Now CISCO. There. As soon as I entered the right password, it automatically allowed me access into my router. This is how SSH works. So now I have created a remote access to the router through SSH only. If I use telnet, it won't allow me. It says that connection timed out. Connection is not going. It is your target is not accepting connections through telnet. So we have secured the router first. I set up all the required security commands. Now let us do the same for switch also. There is a switch. So this is a switch. Let me go into the part. Now this is what you can actually remove this cable if you want to. If you are interested, you can remove this and then try the same SSH connection. It will work. I did that. So let me go into the switch. So once again, there is directly you can type in config here, or sorry, for CLI, the CLI tab, and after that, just let me press enter. Once again, it says enable configure terminal, configure terminal. First, you need to press in enable and then configure terminal. Then you get into the global configuration mode. The first thing is what you need to do is configure the host name as SW1. Now we are trying to find out what are the basic security that we need to set up on this switch. So first thing is host name SW1. Okay, done. I did that. After that, it is asking me configure the IP addressing on VLAN 1. If you go to the addressing table here, you can find out all the details. If you see SW1 VLAN 1, the IP address is written over here, and you also need to give the default gateway for the switch. Otherwise, it won't allow you to access. So interface VLAN 1 and then IP address 172.16.1.2 space 255.255.255.0. Enter. No shutdown. So VLAN 1 is now active and activated. Now the state goes to, and after that, you should not forget about IP default gateway 172.168.16.1.1. Enter. So you need to give the default gateway, otherwise it won't work. So let me get back to here. What else they need? So I configured A, B, C, D is done. Now let me talk about E. It is asking me disable all the unused switch ports. Now for that, what we can do is you can actually just browse your mouse on the switch button here. Now you can see all the clear list of all the ports that are active. If you can see this, the fast Ethernet one port is up. The fast Ethernet one port is up, and the gigabit Ethernet port 1 is up. All the rest of the ports are down. So we need to close them. That's what we learned. We don't want to leave any unused ports open so that an attacker can try to get through these unused ports. So it is the duty of the network administrator to shut down any of the unused ports. So rather than writing shutdown for each and every one of the port numbers here, what we can do is we can actually have we have an interface range command that can be used, which makes the job much more easier. Let me show you how it is done. So if you see here, let me go back. Let me get this up. Now, this is the interface range command. What you need to do is interface INTRFACE interface range. You know that Ethernet port 1 is currently being used, F0. So I'm not going to write that, F0 by. So the command for the ports from 2 till 24. It's going to tell the interface range, all the fast Ethernet ports starting from 2 to 24, comma, and there are 2 gigabit ports, G0 by 1 and G0 by 2. G0 by 1 is currently being used. So G0 by 2. This is how you should write a range command. Okay. So enter. Now, if you can see here, this subconfiguration is now changed. So configuration mode, interface mode, and in the range mode. Then you need to enter shut down. Just you make all those unused reports which are currently not being active to shutdown mode. So they will be deactivated. Okay, so that is done. And encrypt all plain text passwords. I'm just going to come out of here like that. So now this is how I did it. If you see here on switch, it is a good security practice to disable the unused ports. Doing it is you can use the shutdown command. You can actually use the shutdown command for each and every port, but it is much more easier to use the interface range command. Now, service password encryption. This is you do. It is asking me set a strong secret password of your choosing. Okay, fine. I will just type in enable. I can do the same thing. Cisco. Okay. So after that, it is asking me disable DNS lookup. I told you no IP domain lookup. That is how you disable the DNS lookups. After that is asking me to set the domain name to ccna.com and create a user of your choosing with a strong encrypted password. This is the same commands that we need to do. These are the things. So I'm just going to try to copy paste it from here. So it is IP domain name ccna.com. That's what is asked here. Okay. So and after that, what we need to do is enter. After that, what we need to do is you need to create a username. Let me say Chinta and secret Cisco. I can do that also. Cisco. But as I told you, use strong passwords. Username, and then afterwards crypto key generate RSA. Now it's going to once again ask you for the key size. So just put in 1024. Press enter. It's done, and it is asking me configure all Vtb lines for SSH access and use the local user profiles for authentication. Yes, I can do that also. Now, what I need to do is line VTY 0 to 15, enter. From that point onwards, what I can do is transport input SSH, enter, login local. That's what we need to do. So if anybody tries to enter through the remote access, the VTB lines, and we are actually making them to enter only via SSH access only. Okay, and it is also asking me put the executive mode timeout to 6 minutes on all VTB lines. This is what we are in. So what I need to do is I just need to type this in execute timeout 6. That should do the job. See here, that's what it is. Same command that we used for our router, execute timeout 6. That means 6 minutes here. Enter. That's it done. And then after that, what we need to do is exit. Exit. I will come out. Copy. Running config to startup config. Okay. Enter. Okay. Fine. So it still says 98%. Let me see what I missed. If I missed anything. Okay. There you go. Now it says 100%. The only thing which I missed is I didn't press enter during my copy saving of the running config to startup config on my router. So this is how you do the access. This is how you actually secure your network devices. Okay. Now to also prove to you that we have made the connection to the switch. So what I can do is I'm going to just press delete and remove this cable. Now let me go to PCA again, and on PCA let me show you. This is no longer needed. Let me close this out. Just on PCA, let me go into the command prompt, and on command prompt let me show you what can be done here. As I said, SSH -L, remember Chinta, and here I will try to get into the switch using this Vlan 1 or the SVI that I did. Chinta 172.16.1.2. Okay, something from Chinta 172.16.1.2. There you go. It's asking for the password. Just let me give the same password. Now I can do it. Let me try doing it for telnet. because we said transport input SSH. That means it allows access only through SSH. It should not allow access through telnet. So telnet, if I try to access the same switch via telnet, it shouldn't work. Enter. There you go. It is connection is closed by the firm host. You are not allowed. And if you try to give somebody else's username, or if you give the wrong password, once again your connection will not be made. So this is how you configure secure passwords and also do the SSH access for your network devices. There is another video on the same. So just go through that video also and try it on your own. So once you start typing these things, it becomes much more easier. Guys, thank you very much, and do watch the next video on working of the same on the device security, where we try to secure a router and a switch. Thank you.